नमः शिवाय शिवजी सदा सहाय। ओम नमः शिवाय गुरुजी सदा सहाय। Jai Guruji. So today we are going to listen to chapter 1 of the first compendium, that is first Samhita, which is known as Vidveshwar Samhita. It talks about the doubt of sages and it starts with a prayer. I meditate on Shiva, the Lord of Ambika, that is Parvati, auspicious from the beginning to the end, having no parallel, the noble Lord, the unaging and the undying, the Lord of Atmans, the five-faced, and the dispeller of the five powerful sins. Vyasji said, sages of edified souls engaged in truthful rites, powerful and blessed, performed a great sacrifice at the confluence of Ganga and Kalindi. In the most sacred city of Prayag, a holy center, the path that leads to Brahmalok. On hearing that a sacrifice was being performed there, the disciple of Vyasji, that is the great sage Sut, an excellent scholar in Puranas, arrived there to see the sages. The sages were delighted on seeing him and received him with due hospitality and adoration. The due adoration being completed, the noble sages, being highly pleased, addressed him in all humility with their palms joined in reverence. O Romaharsana, the omniscient, by the very fortune, the entire Puranic lore, the one which is full of its meaningful contents, has been secured from Rishi Vyasji. Hence, you are the receptacle of wonder inspiring stories, even as the vast ocean is a storehouse of gems of great worth. There is nothing in these three worlds that is not known to you of the past, present, and the future. It is our great fortune that you have come to pay us a visit. Hence, it is not proper on your part to return without doing us a favor. It is true that we have already listened to the explanation of the auspicious and inauspicious, but we are not content. We yearn to hear more and more. Now, O Suji of great mentality, we have only one point to be clarified. If you desire to bless us, please explain the same, though it be the secret of secrets. At the advent of terrible age of Kali Yuga, men have become devoid of merits. They are engaged in evil ways of life. They have turned their faces from truthful avocations. They are engaged in calumniating others. They covet other men's wealth. Their attention is diverted to other men's wives. Injuring others has become their chief aim. They view the physical body as the soul. Deluded as they are atheists of mere brutish sense. They hate their parents, their wives are goddesses unto them. They are the slaves of lust. Brahmins are in the clutches of greed. They sell Vedas for livelihood. They acquire learning as a means of earning money. They are deluded by their false pride. They have forsaken their duties of their own castes. They have almost become swindles of others. They do not know how to offer Sandhya prayers thrice a day. They are deprived of Vedic enlightenment. They are ruthless. They make much of their little knowledge. They have discarded many of their rights and their good conduct of life. They have taken to agriculture as their profession. Cruelty has become second nature to them. Their ideas have become so dirty and defilled. Similarly, Kshatriyas also have discarded their duties. They associate with evil men, they indulge in sinful activities, vice, and they have become, where their main aim has been to deceive others. They have ceased to be valorous, they never take interest in virtuous warfare, they flee from battlefield, they follow the means and tactics to steal others' properties, and Shudras, they are mentally enslaved by base passions. They have eschewed the practice of miraculous weapons. They never care to protect cows and Brahmins. They no longer consider it their duty to protect those who seek refuge in them. They always indulge in brutish sexual dalliance with their damsels. The good virtue of protecting their subjects they have thrown overboard. They strictly adhere to sensual enjoyment. They are wicked annihilators of their own people. They rejoice in harassment of all living. Vaishyas no longer perform holy rites. They have cast off their traditional virtue. They have taken to crooked ways to earn more and more. They are now notorious for their malpractices with the weighing balance. They are no longer devoted to preceptors, gods, and Brahmins. Their intellect has become distorted, miserly, and tight fisted. They no longer feed the Brahmins. They take delight in being paramours of beautiful women, and they are filthy in their ideas and deluded by cupidity. They have lost clear thinking. They have abandoned and their zeal for even holy rites, such as digging wells, tanks, planting trees, and building parks. Similarly, most of the Shudras have become deprived of noble things. Some of them show their interest in leading the life of Brahmins with shining forms and features. They too, in the confusion of their mind, have abandoned their traditional practices. In their eagerness to appropriate a Brahmanical splendor, they frequently perform penances. They cause infantile and premature deaths by their chanting of mantras. They worship the Shaligram stone and other things. They evince some interest in Homer, but in their thoughts and actions, they are crooked and antagonists. They culminate the Brahmins. Rich people indulge in misdeeds. Learned people take perpetual delight in disputations. Those who conduct discourses in holy narratives and expound virtuous rites of worship themselves abandon virtuous practice of the same. Haughty persons assume the features of noble kings. Those who liberally give do so with a lot of fuss and haughtiness, thinking themselves to be the great lords and treating the Brahmins and others as their servants. Devoid of the strict observance of their traditional duties and virtues, the foolish people have brought about an admixture of various castes. Cruel in their thought and obsessed by false prestige, people have discarded the fourfold system of social classification. Deluded people, wrongly considering themselves high born, perform certain good rites with result only in the upset of the caste order and downfall of all people. Women too generally misbehave and err. They slight their husbands, they are inimical to their father in law. Fearlessly, they pursue their nefarious activities. They indulge in foul gestures, they are carried away by amorous dispositions, their conduct is bad. They pursue illicit connections with paramours, they turn away from their own husbands. As for sons, they are invariably wicked, without any affection. They take lessons in ignorant activities and succumb to various ailments. O Suji, how can these deluded people who have abandoned their traditional virtues get salvation here and hereafter? Hence, our minds are always agitated. Indeed, there is no virtue equal to helping others. Since you are conversant with the essentials of all tenets, please tell us the easiest remedy for the immediate destruction of the sins of these people. Vyasji said, on hearing these words of sages of sanctified souls, Suji thought of Shiva and told them thus. So that's all Sangaji today, Jai Guruji, and we shall proceed with chapter 2 of Vidveshwar Samhita next time. Jai Guruji.